Hello guys, this is Dr. Weiss. Today I want to propose to you an interesting, in my opinion quite strong deck profile for Revue Starlight, the English version. This particular deck profile basically strongly based on plussing due to frequent top check. The main card of the deck is this giraffe. Well, not the main card of the deck, but basically the card that allows a very frequent top check that can be used by other cards in the profile. So this is an important card, and this list amasses a large stock for the finishers. So it makes the restander basically attack 3 times. So for a total of 5 attacks. Okay, so it's really massive attack if you manage to set it up, and it's not very difficult to set it up. And so I will describe towards the end of the video the resources that you need to collect in terms of stock and cards in hand to activate this massive final push. Then you never run out of cards in hand with this deck, because you can effectively sculpt your hand with the filterings, effects, and in all phases of the game basically. So the utility cards at level 0, they will be useful for all the game. And so one thing you have to be careful with is that very often you have to choose the exact order of the auto abilities in this list. So at the beginning it's not a very easy list to play, but after you get used to it, it's really straightforward. And you have to choose exactly order of the auto effects. Typically this comes into play when you have the giraffe on stage. Okay, so you can choose to top check with the giraffe as a last effect or the first effect, depends. Okay, I will explain a little bit different situations you can have. So the first card, as I said, in this list is the giraffe. So we have 2 copies of this. So this card, every time that you put a new character on stage, and also itself, you top check. Okay, you have a look at the top card of the deck. I will explain in the next slides basically how do you use this. But another very important effect is that you sometimes, I mean, it happens probably once in a game, that you can pay 2 stocks. You rest the card, the giraffe, and then you search for a review character. Okay, in the deck. So basically it is used to search for the finisher. Maybe you have a missing piece that you want to have in your hand in order to activate these 5 attacks in the final turn, and so on. So it is a useful effect that you probably don't need it, because this list with this list you can search everything more or less that you need. You can filter your hand very effectively, so you probably won't need it, but just in case the effect is there. So it's a very good card. We have 2 copies. Then we have level 0, these 4 Stage Girl Summer Claudine Saijo. This is the main hand filter in the deck, so we have a maximum number of copies. It synergizes perfectly with the giraffe. So when there is 2 auto effects. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, you reveal the top card of the deck. If that card is a review character, put it in your hand. Then you discard the card. Okay, so the first effect is to filter. The second auto effect is you put the top 2 cards of the deck into the waiting room. If there is a climax, this card gets plus 3000 power. So it's a power surge. And so what effect do you do first? You can choose. Okay, so this is why this card is excellent when it synergizes with the giraffe, because of course if you know that on the top of the deck there is a climax, for example, you want to use the second effect, the power up effect, okay, rather than the first effect, because the first effect would be wasted. So it synergizes with the giraffe. Now then, if the giraffe is already on stage, when you put Claudine Saijo, this level 0, you use first the giraffe, the auto effect of the giraffe, to check whether there is a climax or not on the top of the deck. Then if there is not climax and there is a card you're possibly interested in, you use the first effect of Claudine, okay, and then you use the second one. Then we have 3 copies of Person by Your Side, My Hero. So this card is really good. So there is can give you 3 stock if the top card of the deck is a level 2 or higher. So you reveal the top card when this card is placed. If it is level 2 or higher, you can put it in your stock. So, and also it's a bomb. It's a level 0 bomb, usually placed in the center in the first stages of the game, so that it can reverse pieces that are powerful when they are in the center of the opponent. Also, this one synergizes with giraffe, because if you have giraffe and you can see, if you have giraffe on stage and you can see what the top card is, if it is level 2, then you can decide to play My Hero, okay, and get a free stock. So it is not. It is. I mean, it is a really interesting way to ensure that you have a stock that you might need for the finisher. So basically, this card can be used at any stage of the game, because if the giraffe is always there on the backstage, whenever you need that extra stock, you can try to use this synergy between these 2 cards. Okay, any stage of the game. So this is a really interesting card. Next card is 3 copies of the brainstorm. This is the deck brainstorm, so search brainstorm. Apart from the usual pay 1, rest the card, and search and flip over the 4 cards from the top of the deck. If there is a climax, you search 1 card in the deck, one character in the deck. We have also the other interesting effect that at the beginning of the climax phase, you can top check again. Okay, so I think this is not super useful, because of course you cannot change the position of the card that you have just top checked, but at least you have some knowledge on, for example, the order of the attack. For example, when you play the finishers, you want to know exactly what order of attack you want to make in order to finish your opponent. Then this becomes useful. Again, this synergizes with giraffe, because if giraffe sees a climax when you place this card, okay, then you can use the brainstorm immediately and ensure that you hit the brainstorm. Okay, so the giraffe is in the back. You put Juna, and you top check with giraffe. Okay, if there is a climax, you can use directly the brainstorm. Okay, so if you don't feel comfortable with having only a search brainstorm, you can take 2 copies of the blue Juna and 1 copy of this Kauruko brainstorm, which basically it allows you to search the waiting room if you hit the brainstorm. So it might be an option to have 2 Juna and 1 Kauruko, just to be sure that when you need a piece, you can choose. However, this is not very consistent, because on the backstage you want to have 1 Juna and 1 giraffe. Okay, so you have to think about this. It's a little inconsistent. Yes, as I said, this Juna synergizes with Giraffe. If you see a climax when you place the Juna, when the Giraffe is there, you can use the brainstorm, as I said before. Then we have 3 copies of My Own Shine Karen Aijo. This is the main Riki of the set, and it's really good. So when you put it on stage, look at the top card of your deck. You can decide to leave it there or to mill it to the waiting room. Okay, then the usual pay one, clock one, and search the waiting room for a level 1 or lower character. Now, it's a salvage Riki. It allows you to top check. So again, another card which allows you to see the future, let's say. And if there is a climax, for example, you can mill it and then pay one, clock one, and salvage a character, because of course you don't want to clock a climax. Or you can synergize this with the giraffe. Okay, so after you use the 2 auto abilities of the Riki of Karen, then you can at the very end use the ability of the giraffe. Okay, and top check after you use the Riki effect. Okay, this is really good. And yes, as I said, top check with Karen, then salvage a character, and only then top check with Giraffe. This is one of the possibilities. Or top check with Karen, then mill a card, and only then at the very end you top check with the Giraffe. So it's the order matter, and there is lots of possibilities, and it's up to you to decide which one is more advantageous for you to at that stage of the game. Okay, at that stage of the situation. It also synergizes with so Karen the Riki also synergizes with the brainstorm. So if you top check and see with Karen and see a climax, you might decide that you don't want to use the Riki effect because perhaps you don't need a level 1, or you need a higher level, and so you might use the brainstorm, and then you are sure that you're hitting the brainstorm, and then you can search from the deck the character that you want. Then next 3 copies of My Own Shine Nanadaiba. This is a really important card in the deck. It's a twin drive. So I really like twin drives because they allow you to keep the stock clean. So this it becomes huge, 4,000 when you place it on stage, and pay 1 when it attacks, and you can trigger twice. Okay, so use it typically only after you trigger a climax in a previous attack, so that you can try to filter out of the stock that climax. Of course, it's not ensured that you don't hit another climax, but that's the game. And it can be used at any stage of the game to push for the extra damage, because you're triggering twice, of course. And at any stage of the game, you can use it to over and over again to basically try to keep the stock as clean as possible until the end. Okay, so that you are very compressed. You can hope to have very, very good compression during the game. Then the main level 1 combo of the deck, it's 4 copies of Ready to Challenge the Stage, Claudine Saijo. So these combos with the book climax. It activates when the opponent is reversed. So of course it works in this situation, and it reaches 6,000 power when you place it on stage, and basically, what is the effect? When the opponent becomes reversed, if the book climax is in the climax area, you can put 1 card from the top of your deck to the stock. So you do a blind stock, and you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 1 or higher, you put it in your hand. So it's plussing. It's a very plussing combo if you're lucky, let's say, because you gain one stock and one card in hand if you're lucky. So it's really plusing combo. And of course, the danger is that you're blind stocking a climax, and when you reveal the card, it's a level 0 or another climax, and then you're screwed. But potentially plus a lot, and you need a lot of stock for the finisher. And don't overuse it. So don't put 3 of them. Typically, you put 1 or 2, okay, and on the field when you attack, because if you happen to blind stock too much, it's not good. You might blind stock too many climaxes, and or you can trigger too many climaxes, and it's not good for you. So use 1 or 2, okay, and so yeah, this reminds of this other card, very famous, much more famous than Claudine. Bunny Girl Yun Yun for Konosuba second volume. So this card is a little bit more powerful because it has a continuous ability that if all the characters are magic, this card gets 2000 power. So it reaches 6000 continuous, even of course in the opponent's turn. But the second effect is identical to the effect of Claudine. So the difficulty is sometimes in Konosuba you don't have all magic characters, and sometimes you have other aquas, and this card gets becomes 4000. So at least this is 4500, and but the effect is very similar. So it's similar plussing combo. Then we have 3 copies of this level 1 Mayun Shine Maya Tendo. This is a bomb. It's a level bomb, so a cost bomb, sorry. So if the opponent is a cost 0, when this card is reversed, you can put it in the bottom of your opponent deck. So it denies any kind of on reverse or from stage to waiting room effects from the opponent. And the first effect is also very relevant. When you place it, you can look at the top 2 cards of the deck and put it in any order. Okay, so this is really good. For example, when combined with Claudine Saijo with a filter of level 0, if you were interested in one of those 2 cards that you look with Maya Tendo, you could first play this, have a look, sort the cards in the way you like, so that on top there is a card you're interested in, then use the Claudine level 0, use the first effect, draw, discard 1, and so on. So really synergizes with the idea of the deck, let's say. Okay. Also with Karen, if you basically to get useful pieces, so with the Riki to get useful pieces at like the 1-0 combo, this here, okay, the closed inside jaw. So it can really get useful. It will also synergizes with the level 0 My Hero, the card that when you place it, you reveal the top card, and if it's level 2 or higher, you put it in stock. So that if you see that, I don't know, the second card of the deck, it is level 3, for example, then you want to sort it in such a way that becomes the first card of the deck, and then you use the My Hero level 0, reveal it's for example level 3, and put it in stock, so that it's really synergizes with the idea with all the other cards in the deck. So 2 copies of To Become One Karen and Hikari. This is a standard 1-0 backup, so it gives plus 2000, so it's a 1000 plus 1000, so it's free, and it allows you to try to prevent the opponent from reversing your level 1 Claudine Saijo Climax combo card in order to prevent or reverse effect from the opponents. Then I decided to put two of these event as for us. Basically, this is a very standard event. It's a free way to pick pieces. So you place it and you look at up to two, 4 cards from the top of the deck. You choose one review character and discard the rest and put them in the waiting room. So it's this kind of event is really not necessary in this list. However, it's free and a small number of copies is perfectly okay. Still quite good, of course, but of course the events here is not searchable, so we don't want too many. Okay, there's not space for too many, so we'll put two. Okay, this is good enough. Then going to discuss level 2. This card is level 3, but basically it's a level 2. So 3 copies of my own Shine, My Hero Tsuyuzaki. So it's an early play. If there are 2 or less climaxes in the waiting room, this card gets -1 level while in your hand, so it becomes level 2. And the effect, I mean, the condition sometimes is not so easy to reach, but the second effect is very good. So and it's typically also used, let's say, later stage of the game. Look at X cards. You can pick the climax that you need or the missing piece that you need. So when this card is placed on stage from your hand, look at up to X cards from the top of your deck, choose 1 card, so you can choose also climax from amongst them, put it in your hand and put the rest in your waiting room. X is equal to the number of review characters you have. So potentially you can look at up to five cards from the top of the deck. So this makes sure that you really have access to the climax or to the piece that you need for uncorking the combo. Playing one of these at level 2 is generally enough because you don't want to play 2 of them. It's too much stock. Then you run into potential problems if the opponent plays an anti-early backup, so an anti-change backup. He could destroy 2 of your cards in this way. Okay, so you don't want that. You just waste stock. So play just 1 at level 2. Then 1 copy of Pointed Sword Nana Daiba. This is the anti-change backup, the anti-early play. So basically, apart from the backup 2500, at level 2, you pay 2, you sacrifice a character, and then you can take one of the early play characters of your opponent and then put it in stock. Of course, this is not very good to put things in stock on your opponent, but it could really, I mean, certain situations get rid of some troublesome pieces and so on. Of course, it's a lot of stock, so you have to think carefully about it. So you have to pay 1 to activate the backup, and then you have to pay 2 and sacrifice a character. It's a lot of resources, so do it only when it's really necessary. Okay. Then these 2 cards, basically 2 copies of Secret of the Best My Attendo. This is an assist. This is an assist for only for level 3. Okay, or higher characters, basically level 3s. In front of this card, get plus 2000. So this card is used as a last resort in order to get a climax that you want. Suppose you have a climax that is the wrong climax, okay? And you pay 1 when you place this card. You pay 1. You put 1 of the climax from your hand into the waiting room, and then you can retrieve from the waiting room the climax that you want. So this is used typically to give a lot of power boost to your level 3, and of course also to the previous card, the My Hero, which becomes 12,000. And if it's the center, you have 2 of these, it becomes even 14,000, but usually you just put 1 of these assists. You pay 1 and you basically remove a climax from your hand and get a new one, okay, that you need. And it's used, of course, to get the pants climax for the finishers, okay? So you can use it just before uncorking the finisher. So this will cost you one stock to put this card on stage, one stock to activate this effect of climax recycling. Okay, so make sure you have the stock for that. Um, Originally, I put 2 copies of this Maya Tendo. However, you might consider also to put only 1 copy and 1 copy of this level assist. So basically, this is a level assist at the center. It gets 500 powers, and then this is basically a screw up for certain matchups. Basically, at the beginning of the opponent's main phase, you may pay this cost. If you do, you may choose 1 card in your opponent's clock and put it into his or her waiting room. If you do, your opponent puts the top card of your opponent's clock, of opponent's deck into his or her clock. So basically, just at the cost of 1 stock in the main phase of your opponent, you can decide to screw up with this clock. And if it needs, for example, certain conditions, certain clock conditions to play the early play, these kind of things. Okay, so he's clocking in the beginning of his draw phase, draws, is clocking something that he or she needs to play the early play, and then the main phase starts. You say no, I pay 1, I remove that card in the clock, and I change it with some other cards from the top of the opponent's deck. So that could be big screw up. Yeah, it's an option to introduce this card. It's not necessary, but it's an option you might want to experiment with. Now we go to the level 3. So 3 copies of Braid Readiness, Maya Tendo. Basically, this is the restander. So you will need 1 copy of this card in your hand in order to uncork the finishing attack. Okay. So when placed, calls the 3-2 Claudine Saijo for just the cost of 1 stock. We will see later, and it can attack 3 times in the same turn. Okay, if you have the stock, and I will explain how much stock you need. So with the effect of the 3-2 Claudine Saijo, that is the card that I will present next. When it attacks, it heals. Okay, so it heals 3 times if it restands twice. So it needs the climax, of course, the punt climax. Okay, the punt climax. The show must go on. So we'll keep 3 copies of this, and then 4 copies of the companion card, Noble Will Claudine Saijo. So when this card is placed from hand or from the effect of the previous card from Maya, you look at the top 3 cards and choose one of the cards among them and put it in your hand. So this is just to try to find the climax, okay, the punch climax, or something else that you need, okay, or just to have a card in your hand, okay. Then at the end of this card's attack, notice that it doesn't need to any reverse, okay. Just at the end of the attack, if the climax is in your climax area, you pay 3, discard the card, and restand the Maya, so the previous card, this one, which must be in the central position of the front stage. Okay. So typically you have 1 Maya at the center and 2 of these Noble Will Claudine Saijo on the sides, okay, in the front stage. So basically you can use this restand ability twice. Okay, first with the, let's say, right Claudine Saijo, and then with the left Claudine Saijo, and you restand basically the Maya twice in the game. So a total of 5 attacks. Okay. And what is the order of the attack? So, and the resources that you need to uncork this finisher. So you need a minimum of 7 stocks. 7 stocks. Okay. You can have no cards in hand. as well. So in order to be able to attack 5 times. So what do I mean by no cards in hand? So you first of all you play Maya. So you must have one Maya and one Claudine. Okay, so you play Maya on stage. You pay the 2 stocks. Okay, then you call Claudine from the effect. You just pay from the effect of Maya. So you just pay 1 stock. Okay, and you put it in the front stage. Then you with Claudine you draw 3 cards and you select one. Okay, so now you have 1 card in hand. Then you place another Claudine, so you have to pay another 2 stocks. Okay, and then again you you draw 3 cards and you get another card in hand. And now you have 2 cards in hand. Then you start the attack. Of course, you place the climax. You start the attack. You attack with Maya, so the central card. The attack gives you 1 stock. Then you attack with Claudine. The attack gives you another stock. You pay 3 stocks and 1 card in hand to restand the Maya. Then you attack with Maya again in the center. You gain another stock. Then you attack with the other Claudine. You gain another stock. Then you use the Claudine effect again. You pay 3 stock. You discard one card, and then you attack with the Maya in the center, which gives you another stock. So you really need you need 7 stocks to do this. You can do the calculations yourself. It's very easy, and you just need in the final turn you would need 1 Pan's Climax, 1 Maya, and 1 Claudine. Okay, so this would be enough. Of course, you must have the other Claudine in the waiting room. Okay, so you just need these 3 cards. It's amazing. It doesn't need even the reverse, so it's really powerful attack at the end. Remember that if you trigger when attacking with the central card, so with Maya, with the restander, then if you trigger a soul, for example, then that soul stacks up. So when it restands, it will have, all the souls that she had when attacking the previous time. So the number of souls in the attack can grow. Okay, so never forget that. Many people do. Okay, so last things is the climaxes. 4 climaxes each, 4 pants and 4 books. So these are 2 plus in climaxes. The pants climax add consistency to the level 1 and level 3 combos, so that you always have, there is very high chances you have the climax you need in your hand at that particular point of the game. And the book climax is not, let's say, it's not too bad. It's a plussing climax. Okay, so you never run out of cards in your hand, and as you know, in this game, the number of cards in your hand is essential to try to win at all levels. And so yeah, I really like this deck profile because it's consistent. It is let's say it pluses your game in many ways in terms of cards in hand, cards in stock, knowledge of what's coming in the top of the deck, and the field is almost always full. Okay, so it is really good, and the finisher is amazing. The finisher is really powerful. So these 5 attacks in a row, it's in one turn, it's really good. So you have very high chances that you set up your hand in a way that you can uncork easily these 5 attacks. Okay. Yes, it is. Let's say it's pretty much quite established what cards you need in this profile. This giraffe is really good in this deck because usually not so good in other types of lists. Okay, because it's just a wasted card in other types of lists. For example, in the Kauruko list of Revue Starlight, but in this particular list, it is really powerful and synergizes with many of the other cards in the deck, like this Claudine Saijo, this My Hero gives you free stock for the finishers, the Brainstorm as well, the Riki. Then there is um, this card here also top check 2 and changes the order of the cards. So it's really, let's say, useful utility cards to set your hand and your stock and to clean your stock properly. It's really I like it. And so the early play gives you the chance to search your deck for the first the first card of your deck to get the climax or the piece you need. So you have your anti-change. You have this assist that is quite powerful, and it again if you really need it, it gets your climax for you. It's very consistent and well structured deck, I think. Okay, so that's it for me. If you have any questions, just ask below in the comments, and have a look at the Anchor Decks list that I put in the description, and subscribe and like the video. See you.